So a relative of mine had sesame seed flour, and they decided to give it to me since I'm allergic to so many things. So I'm going to see if I can make something tasty out of it. I am making this recipe up as I go. So I keep oat flour around the house, so I have equal parts oat flours to equal parts sesame flour, and then I have a little bit of salt here to help the flavor. And now I'm going to mash some butter into it like I'm making a biscuit dough. As you can see, it's a lot butterier than regular biscuits. Now I'm going to add a whole bunch of honey to mix in. So I empty that entire jar, well, mostly empty jar out into here, and I'm about to mix it all up. Now that it's mixed, it's about the consistency of a cookie dough, so I'll slap it on a baking sheet and stick it in the oven at 350 till I think it's done. This dough was really sticky, so I put another layer of parchment paper on top of it, and I've just been flattening it with my hands. I tasted some of the batter, and it tasted kind of like shortbread because, well, it's oats and butter and sweetener, which is shortbread. And with a hint of sesame seed in there. The sesame seed was very mild, even though it was 50% of the flour. Anyways, now I'll take that and bake it and see what happens. So here's what it looks like after 15 minutes. I did turn it around halfway through. It looks like it's done. I think I want to leave it in another 5 minutes to let it brown a little bit more around the edges. This is what it looks like after 5 more minutes. I've taken it out of the oven and I need to let it cool. I will be putting it on a cooling rack. You have to let things that are mostly oat cool before you start trying to cut with them, or they will just crumble to pieces. So I gotta let this cool completely before snapping it and breaking it into pieces to eat. Now that it's cooled down for about 20 minutes, I can remove it from the paper without it falling apart to bits. I can break a little piece off, although it's probably going to be a big piece. I'll give it a try. Oh, let's try it. It's mildly sweet with a hint of bitter. Not that great, not that bad either, so I'm going to enjoy, or at least I'm going to eat it because I'm not allergic to it. So after sharing some of it with my son and taking some time to really think about the flavor, so there's a lot of bitterness that's not usual for sesame seeds. I keep like 5 pounds of sesame seeds in the house, and I've made sesame flour before, and that sesame flour tastes, I know it's supposed to be non-GMO and organic and everything, but it somehow they managed to get the bitteriness that exists in like tahini bars and concentrate that flavor in the sesame. And I don't know what they did to do that, because generally I would just rather just take sesame seeds and throw them in the blender, and you'd get a better sesame flavor that way. The thing I made, the salt, every now and then you'd get a bite that actually has salt in it, and the salt would go really, really well and complement the rest of the flavors that were going on your mouth and made it very enjoyable. I suspect that I'm going to be eating the rest in the morning for breakfast with a nice glass of milk and just, but yeah, probably not going to make that exact recipe again. Definitely going to have to change it up and maybe make my own sesame flour, because there was a lot of bitterness in that flour.